What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome back. Today we're working on my terminal emulator. His name is Jeremy, he's on GitHub. We've been at this for a couple weeks now, and we're kind of at the point where we have something maybe kind of useful. So here he is, right? He starts up, he launches bash, he pretends he's a terminal by, terminal emulator, and he like tracks the appropriate things so that I can do something like, say, like git log, and I see like, oh, that's really, the window's too small. There is a bug introduced last stream that is going to cause occasional crashes, and that's going to piss me off for the rest of the stream, but we're not going to fix that today because that's not what's on the plan. But, I can, like, get in here, and I see, like, colors and, like, pagers, like, kind of working. There's a couple bugs in here. I can feel it. Like, when I go down here, it's not going down. It's, like, refreshing our line. But, like, we're kind of close, right? We have, like, some form of scroll back. If I go like ls, hit enter a bunch of times, right? You can like see, oh, here's the part that's like currently on screen, and here's on here. Here's what's in the scroll back. And the way this all works is bash thinks that he's talking to a old style terminal. Maybe we will draw. So, you have, like, back in the day, you have, like, your terminal emulator here. He's got a keyboard, he's got a screen, right? And he's, like, a completely separate entity from the computer that's running bash. So what happens is, like, you talk to these guys, and they only talk to each other by basically sending data back and forth. And so, like, the sequence of commands is, like, I press a key on my keyboard with my finger, right? The terminal emulator says, hey, he pressed the letter A. And bash, like, does his thing, and then he goes, like, hey, I rendered the letter A. And then the A gets printed up here. Cursor moves over, whatever. But, there's a lot of stuff that isn't just sending the letter A back and forth, but it's like, you might want to do, like, some sort of cursor movement. You might want to make the text red. You might want to, like, do all sorts of, like, other stuff. And so usually what they do is they send some sort of, like, special magic code. They say, like, hexadecimal 1B is our, like, super secret command. And then we'll, like, send some sequence of characters. They do something like, they usually start with an open brace, and they have, like, some sort of stuff in the middle, followed by, like, some letter. So if they wanted to, like, set the cursor to a different color, they might say, like, I'm going to type 31, which is, like, the number, Jesus, you can't read that, but it's supposed to be 3-1. If they say, like, 31M, that's supposed to be, like, the super secret code for, like, hey, this is formatting data, and I'm using formatting data number 31, which means turn it red, right? And so, like, bash will send that to the terminal, and then the terminal knows, oh, okay, I will say red characters now. We are not this terminal, but we're something very similar. Because what happens is, like, Linux under the hood, he has this thing called, like, a TTY driver, and he does all sorts of stuff that I don't fully understand yet. I don't have, like, a perfect handle on, like, what's the responsibility of the TTY, what's the responsibility of the shell, what's the responsibility of the terminal emulator. All that's not really clear. But you can imagine, like, he would be talking over, like, a UART line, like, serial, just 2-line protocol to this device. But we can also abstract this away by using, like, a file descriptor that talks to our terminal emulator over here. It's, like, a similar thing. So, like, we act as if we are that, like, 2-line serial communication, but we're using, like, file descriptors instead. And so all of the work in writing the terminal emulator goes into, like, basically tracking this, like, buffer of characters on screen, right? All of this stuff. And making sure that, like, when bash asks us to move the cursor, that we move it to the right spot. When it asks us to delete a character, we do the right thing. And when we press the characters on the keyboard, we're setting the right thing so that bash knows how to interpret them. And so that kind of brings us to today. Where are we at? What are we doing today? Is we're trying to basically improve bash support. So the long story here is that when I open up a normal terminal emulator that's not mine, and I type a long line of text, it wraps, right? I can backspace over the line wrapping. When I, like, resize this, it's like, oh, that's actually, I've never done this here before, but that's actually very interesting what just happened. It all just jumped up to the top. But, when I resize this, the characters, like, it's rewrapped and stuff. So there's a lot of, like, stuff going on here. And it turns out that in readline, like, kind of like the utility that bash is using to read a line, right? It's got all of these, like, features of the terminal that it, like, might use, right? So in here, he's like, hey, here are my terminal capability strings. And there's all sorts of them, and he looks them all up in this, like, database that's associated with your terminal. And some of them are like simple. Some of them are like, what is like the button I need to press? Or what is like the command I need to send to move the cursor back by one? And some of them are like, hey, what are you going to send me if you press the up arrow, right? Kind of like just stuff like that. And then if you look in like the display code for read line, you'll see stuff like, okay, so there's like this thing RL term IC. What does that thing do again? We can like look that up. I think it's in man term info. And I think, if I remember correctly, this is like insert characters in the middle of a string, right? So you can like, if you insert, let's open up console again. If you insert like, you know, some like out of the text ASDF1234, that's going to print ASDF1234. And the insert character thing is like, okay, so after I've done that, I want to go back 4 characters. I think that's like this. Let me just, I think. And then you can say, let me insert 10 spaces or something, like pad my thing by 10. Right? And that'll shift the 1, 2, 3, 4 over like that. And so like Bash now knows, he says like, hey, if you have this ability, if you can tell me how to like pad stuff out, I can do something completely different than I was doing before. And you'll see like in their code, they'll say like, hey, if I have this like RL term IC, that means that I can do different things. And this is a long-winded way of saying, Bash checks against some terminal database, what can we do? And it was like you would assume improves behavior if those things are available, right? And so we're kind of thinking like, well, we don't have like fancy line wrapping like we did in console, right? Like when we typed like this, bump, 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 that's different than what we see here, where when we type a long line, it kind of just extends on the right. Why is that happening? Probably because we're not implementing everything. And so the goal is implement everything to try to improve Bash behavior, and then hopefully that gets us closer to like a generalized working terminal so that we can get closer to running like NeoVim or something like that later. So that's the plan for today. And so I've actually, you know, grouped these this time. Before I was just kind of like bumbling through randomly. I've like pre-looked up all of these and what they are. So it means that we can like group them and kind of work by chunks. So I think we're going to do like keybinds first, like things that are like, hey, can you tell me what button you press when you press left arrow? Simple. We might be missing some. We might not have like page up and down and like tab and stuff. So we might have to like go through and add some of the keys that we're missing. Then I want to do like relative cursor movement. So, you know, in this test command that we wrote here, we did this like move cursor back by 4. We don't have any relative cursor moves implemented in our terminal emulator right now, so we'll have to do that. And then there's like a few like modes that it requests. One of them is standout mode. I don't really know what it is. I think I read somewhere that it inverts characters, which is kind of funny. So like white on black turns into black on white for that section. And then there's meta mode, which is like, hey, if you send me an alt key, like right now, I don't think we support any alt key presses. He's looking for that in some way. And then there's just like some like miscellaneous shit that I couldn't group. So I think that's the plan. And so let's jump into keybinds. Okay. So the way these guys request capabilities. Do I have a terminal open? No. Or sorry, a Vim instance open. Let's look at our test thing. And so they use this library called termcap. Termcap is old, supposedly, according to like documentation I've read. The new fangled way of doing things is by using this thing called terminfo, which is like, I guess, a more flexible version of termcap. Not really sure. And that's provided by like the ncurses library. I don't know if you've ever done any like terminal GUI stuff, right? Like you've come across ncurses. It's like when you run any program that's interactive, they're probably using ncurses under the hood, which is like basically saying like, hey, I'm a higher level wrapper around like draw something here, and it will do all of the thinking to be like, okay, so that means I have to put the cursor over here, and then I have to like clear this line, and then I have to replace it with some stuff, and then I have to like reset this line and edit this. You know, it does all that for you. And ncurses is like emulating this like old style termcap thing. So when I look in read line and I see like, oh, these key presses, what are they? You know, we use this like wrapper emulation layer from ncurses, whatever you want to call it, and we can say, why does it think it's read only? The fuck? Delete it. There we go. So if we want to check like the key end thing, we can say like, well, we want to look at key end. We call tgetStir with key end, and that's it. We should like have the key sequence, and so then we can print it back out. KE. Like this. Okay. And now I should be able to compile that. Nope. Because we need n curses in our shell, which we don't have, because I'm on Nix, and everything's harder on Nix, of course. So let's just make sure that we have the ability to link to n curses. Okay. And now if I run test, in this terminal emulator, we see like, okay, here's some like fucking sequence of things that they're going to send for, oh, this isn't key end, sorry. This is leave keyboard transmit mode. Sorry, that's a different thing. Keyboard transmit mode. I just saw KE and immediately thought key end, but I didn't read the immediate line after. Okay. Keyboard transmit mode. I think we already support this in our terminal emulator, actually. Because I remember hitting this already in less, where the arrow keys would not work correctly unless I supported this command. So what the fuck is keyboard transmit mode? As far as I can tell, if I'd say info comp xterm, this will tell me, okay, so xterm, common terminal emulator, what the hell do they do for like this special command? And the keyboard transmit mode in like they're KS and KE in the old style, but in the new style they're called SMKX and RMKX. We can look for those. And we can see like SMKX is here, and he's sending, you know, some sequence. I don't know what the second half of the sequence is, but I know what the first half is. And this is, let's see, how did we find this before? So we maybe looked at the ECMA 48 specification. What's that command? Infocomp xterm? Yeah, so infocomp is, I think it's info CMP, is this command to like print out the terminal database for like your current terminal emulator, and then you can just say the name of the one that you actually care about, right? So I can do like console, you know, xterm, and they'll all be like slightly different, tmux, right? They'll all have like different codes, but xterm is just the one I've been using as a reference. Okay, so in this spec is annoying because he doesn't ever print characters like you would see here, right? This guy says like H. But what he does print is he prints out this like row column notation ASCII thing. So we can look for the H in here, which is lowercase h, row 6, column 8. And we can look for 0608. And this is called set mode. We read this spec before, so I'm not going to like read it so carefully. But basically he says, if they put a question mark in front of the mode, then it's a private mode. And so modes are like, you can say like, awesome, thanks. Will come in handy when I'm look for some issue trying to figure out what I'm with iTerm. Yeah, nice. Definitely. You can also like just like try fucking around with like the term environment variable, and like sometimes they'll behave differently, sometimes it won't. Yeah, definitely useful though. Okay, so like modes are like they change what will happen in some cases, right? The term, like you can imagine like you just flip a switch and now we behave differently. Great. This spec says that like if you have like a question mark mode, it's basically like private, and we eventually track this down to VT100 decgum, I think was what it was called. This took a long time for me to find, so I'm not going to go through that. It's like fucking pain in the ass again. But basically, here, this guy says, hey, this is cursor keys mode from the VT100, this like terminal from the 70s. And here is the code. So yep, this is like what we're seeing. And so they have these guys implemented, and they're like, okay, we're going to enter these transmit mode. It's like, well, what the fuck does that do? Well, it turns out that if cursor keys mode is on, like the key presses that your terminal has to send for applications to like register key presses are like different. Normally we send this escape open brace A. We'll ignore whatever that means. But like when we go into cursor keys mode, we said escape OA. So I'm pretty sure that we already implemented this because we needed to do it for less to work like kind of reasonably. So we can look at cargo run, and we can look at infocomp. And here we can see that we have SMKX and RMKX. Those are already there. So we can just kind of like knock those ones off right now. Boom, boom. And then we can kind of hide the expansion here. There we go. Okay. Delete character key, lower left key. Okay, let's start working through these. So KD, delete character D, which turns into KDCH1 in like the new style way of doing things. So let's see what that guy entails. So we can look at info comp xterm again. and see what the hell does he do. For KDCH1, he sends this. Oh, and we got stuck on this one at the end of the other stream. I couldn't figure out what the fuck is this escape open brace 3 squiggle. What is that? I've never seen that anywhere. It doesn't match like the pattern of anything else. And I found this delete character Wikipedia page. Delete character. And okay, so there is like a delete key. If I read this correctly, there's a like delete ANSI or ASCII code, right? So if I say like man ASCII and I look at this table, one of the things in here is delete, and it's like every bit is set. And it looks like from this page, if I read it correctly, this is based off of like they used to punch these letters into some tape, right? And if you made a mistake while you were like punching the letters into like this like physical piece of paper, you would hit the delete key to say like, oops, that was a mistake. And it would just like punch out every single hole, which is why it's like 7F, is because every single bit is set, punch every hole. So anything can be corrected by just deleting everything. Or by like if you punched in like half the holes to say that I wanted to type letter X, then like you hit delete, punches out everything, problem solved. I didn't make a mistake anymore. Which kind of just means that like in tape processors, they were just kind of handle it, like they would just skip that when they saw it on the tape. They're just like, delete, fuck it, I don't care, like that's not no op. And then I think if I read this correctly, some people started using that key for backspace. Okay. Because like semantically it's like the same. And then I think that there's something about like delete having like a different sequence, and some terminal emulators wanted to like mark the difference between deleting forwards and deleting backwards. And so then there's like, okay, so some terminals send this like this random fucking string, and if I look for where that string comes from, they say this is reference 7 VT510 chapter 8 keyboard processing. Okay. Let's see if this guy comes up. And let's see, delete. And so here, this is where it comes from. So on the PC, they were using delete as the delete button, which deleted forward. But on the VT510, they were like, well, I want to like distinguish between backwards and forwards because we have a different backspace key. So I'll send a new thing so there's no ambiguity, so that people don't make a mistake. Okay. History lesson complete. So all of that to say, it is reasonable to do the same thing. And I think we will just do the same thing. We will just propagate this like living in the past that we're doing. I think the VT510 is at least from like the 90s instead of from the 70s. So at least we're only going back to, 93. So, not the end of the world. Okay. So I think we will just do the same thing. Am I in the right window? I am. So we can look at our list of things that we care about, and we will just shove that one in here. KDCH1 is equal to escape, open brace 3 squiggle. And now we just have to send that thing when the delete key is pressed. Which means we can go into our GUI code, which somewhere has like this like list of keys that might be pressed at some point. And I think that we don't have the delete key here. Rust Analyzer is running, but he's taking a second because he's got to parse all of the code. Hi, I'm reading a Rust book, chapter 4, but ownership is a bit complicated depending on the variable you're using. Do you have any tips? I think it really depends on what you're struggling with, but I think you just gotta, you'll get a feel for it once you start writing, I think. It is kind of tricky, I guess, right? Like, it's not, especially if you come from like a language where you don't have that concept. But I don't really know, like, ownership is like a large topic. Borrows are hard in general. Lifetimes are hard. I'd say put some padding on your desk for when you just slam your head a little bit. Yeah, I think that's a good tip for sure. Okay, So these guys have a delete key, and we can just double check. Do we have the delete key in here anywhere? Nope. So we do need to add it. And we will just do the same thing we did here. So we have an event key. The key is delete. We check if it's pressed. Once the delete key is pressed, we say, hey, I'm going to pass that thing on as a terminal input. We kind of like abstract the like GUI framework concept of buttons from our terminal emulator concept of buttons because, you know, theoretically, you could, I want to like keep the flexibility of like swapping out GUIs. So there's a little bit of duplication, but it means that with, for the gain of flexibility, I guess, which I think is a trade-off that I'm willing to take. So he does this conversion. Now we say, okay, I want a delete key as like a thing that our terminal input can do, and we just need to say, okay, what does that mean now? Like, what are we gonna do when that key is pressed? And I think, if I understand this correctly, I think all we have to do is say, hey, please send this string of escape code, open brace, 3 squiggle. I think. We should double check this in console. I'll do that in a second, and we'll just put a comment here saying, maybe we link this and delete character on Wikipedia. Because I think it is interesting and confusing. Why escape open brace 3 squiggle? It seems like we are emulating the VT510. Other terminals do it. So we can too. Right? I think that like basically you could pick any character, right? Right? As long as whoever is expecting it is like looking it up in the term info database. But I assume that all of this like historical keeping of like the same behavior, I'm assuming that's because some applications just don't check, and some applications will just assume that like what they saw on the last terminal emulator is what they'll see on the next one. So we just keep carrying forward the same sequences over and over and over again, even though we don't have to, just because we want maximum application compatibility, I think. But yeah, we'll see. Okay. What I wanted to check here is some of these guys change what the sequence is based off of that like cursor keys mode that we were talking about before. And so I just want to double check if we go into console and we run script -i input log, which says like, hey, could you please check how which work? You write down all the inputs, I guess. See, so if I say like, you know, delete, 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 and then I say echo -e, and I try to set the cursor keys mode, which I believe is escape open brace $1H. And then I press left just to make sure, and then delete, 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 exit. Now we should have a like list of keys that were pressed. And let's see if we can find them. So here we see the delete keys, right? Open brace 3 squiggle, and then after cursor keys mode is set, we still see open brace 3 squiggle. So I think we're good. There's no worrying about like, are we in this mode, are we in that mode? We just send that same character all the time. Cool. Is that loop above your head Doom? It's a custom recreation of the Windows 95 Maze screensaver that I saw in like my like elementary school computer rooms. Written in Godot, intentionally tried to make look like as shitty as possible. But it does look similar to Doom. Probably same like, well, I was going to say same rendering, like, what's it called? Techniques used, but then I just realized that's a total fucking lie, right? I'm using like a full 3D game engine to and like making it look shitty with post-processing instead of like doing the shitty rendering myself. Okay. Delete character key. So now, if we go back into our like little test script here, okay, first of all, I'm not liking like the duplication here anymore. This is getting to be too much. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna factor this out to say keys. And we can just say, I think it's const char star keys is equal to this. This ain't Rust. You did a bamboozle. I mean, the test isn't Rust, but the terminal sure is. Okay, I'm gonna cheat and do some Vim macro bullshit here. So I can just go delete to the thing, find the comma, delete to the end of the line, put the comma back in. Okay. And then, I guess we need one of these guys left so that I have a reference. We can say, for int I equals 0. It's been a while. This always trips me up. I think it's, you'd like define len x to be like size of x over size of x0, and this will only work if it's like a array that's typed that like knows how many elements it is, not if it's like a pointer, I think. So then I say like I is less than len keys plus I. You can tell my C is rusty because this isn't like natural to me right now. Okay. And then we can say we get the string keys I, and then we print the string keys I. And then we say val here, boom, boom, val here, and this will make the rest of my life much easier. And then I should be able to put in here that I want to say KD now for the delete character key. And if I gcc-o, nope, he doesn't like that because I put why did I just put an equals at the start of this define? Like I'm fucking high. Okay, cool, that's working. Okay, how does that work? Oh yeah, okay. So like this len macro, I assume is what you're asking about. Sorry, my dog is like, stop. Thank you. So if you have like an array in C and you say like, you know, int x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. If you print the size of x, let's try that test. You know, you get 16, which is how many bytes that array is going to take up. So if your int is 4 bytes wide, you have 4 of them, that's 16 bytes. And so since that's the size in bytes, if you're trying to see like how many elements do I have in this array, you say like, well, what's the size of the array over the size of one element? Which is like, you know, stupid little C trick. And you have to be really, really careful about this, because if you then say like const char star star keys 2 is equal to keys like this, which is valid. If you like printf keys 2 length as %d, or I think it's ld, and then you say len keys, keys 2 len is like wrong, because they take the size of the pointer instead of the size of like the array. So you have to be very careful. It's just one of those like C things. Why is a macro there? It's faster just because it's cool. I think because there's no way to easily type erase in Rust or in C, right? Like if you were to do this in like C++, it won't work on an array of structs, right? I think it would. I don't see any reason that it wouldn't. Padding will screw that calculation up, but the padding is still used within the array, I think. I think any padding within the struct is like already accounted for there, but maybe not. I guess if there's like padding at the end, maybe not quite. Not sure, actually. So the macro is because the macro will work for ints and floats and chars and structs. But if you tried to define it as a function, then you would have to make like a different function for each type because there's no generics in C. But also, I don't know how much you should be listening to me about C stuff because I feel very rusty. Oops, I deleted the macro. Okay. So now we can run our terminal and make sure that when we run it, we get that KD thing he's printed out. Hopefully we've got it. So we increase the font size so you guys can see. I write test. And we do have KD here. He's being printed out. And I also don't like this like square bracket thing that we're doing anymore. So I'm just going to like yoink that shit out. There we go. Oops, don't like that. Forgot the new line. Much better. Oops. Also forgot a key. I just want to delete the brackets, nothing else. There we go. Much nicer. Much nicer. Okay, so I guess what we didn't check is if the delete key actually does anything, which it should now, but we should double check that. So we write SDF, go back a couple characters and press delete key, delete key, delete key, delete key. Very nice. Very nice. I think we can call that one complete. And I think we can commit that. So we can say git add -p. That's some garbage I don't want. This is related. This is related. This is related. This is related. Git commit implement delete key. And I'll just say whip because I want a better description for this later, but I don't want to do it right now. Rewrite the maze in Rust because it must be blazing fast. I mean, I don't know if that would be very... I think that we've done like enough similar projects to that it wouldn't be fun, I think. Because we've already done like the 3D graphics engine project for like the stream start screen, and I don't think that we would get anything out of this we didn't already get out of that. But maybe. I don't really like running Godot all the time, I'll be honest. But as far as game engines go, it's fine. It's just, I don't know. If I were to write a game, which I won't because I don't have any good game ideas and I don't want to, but I would waste all of my time, instead of being quick and efficient and writing a game in a game engine, I would waste all of my time writing a game engine that no one will use and is worse than all the other options. Which is probably another reason why I'll never write a game. Okay. So the next one, KH, lower left key, home down. I don't really know what that means. It's like when I read like term info and I look at KLL, first finish term. Yeah, well, I also, who knows, finishing stuff is hard, man. Hopefully we get there. This says lower left key, home down, but I don't know what that means. So maybe we can look at X terms. What do they do? X term just doesn't have it. Okay. That makes sense if it's like not the same as the home key. Because I think we implemented home key the other day, and that was, if I remember correctly, home, yeah, we have this like home key thing already in key end. So lower left key, home down is not bad. So what the hell is like lower left key terminal emulator? What does that mean? VT, like lower left key, like if I look up this, is that control? Home down. What the hell? Lower left key term info. Like, what does it mean? Okay. Well, given that Xterm doesn't implement it, and I don't even know what the fuck it is, like let's check a couple others. Infocomp on Alacrity. Does he have KLL? No. Console? KLL? Okay, given that none of these guys have it, I'm just gonna skip it because I don't even know what it is. So I'll just write like, I don't know what it is and no one else does it. Alright. Alright, good enough for me. Just, you know, if you just don't do it, then you can implement things really quick if your implementation is just deciding that you don't do it, right? It's easy. Insert character key. Okay. So what the fuck is that? I assume that that's the insert key on my keyboard, which I don't think I ever press on purpose. I think there's never been a time in my life where I've wanted to use that button, right? Because it just like fucks your shit up, right? If you're like in like, do I have like get it or something? Kate? Is Kate the fucking text? Like, how do I just like write fucking text in like a normal non-Vim text editor? I guess I just don't have anything to do that. But yeah, just like overwrite stuff instead of inserting, if I remember correctly, which is like a pain in my ass. But okay, this guy has it. And it looks like he's using that same format that we saw on the VT510 page. So I wonder if that's still open. Yes. and we see insert is using the same thing. So we might as well just follow the same behavior. Same behavior. So we can go back into GUI. We can look for key insert, which will convert into a different type of insert key, which will go over here. Insert, boom, 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 and we will do the same shit over here. And with a 2. And this should be from insert. Me as a 15-year-old after pressing insert and wondering what happening with my PC. Yeah, it seems like the kind of thing that's like, it almost feels like it's like a prank, right? It's like, why would you let someone do this to me, world? Like, there is no God. He wouldn't let this happen to me if he existed. Okay, so I think probably inserts fine. We need to add it to the database. So here we have KICH1, which HIJK KICH1 here is escape, open brace to squiggle. Okay. And then cargo run. We need to edit the test thing here to add this new KI. Boom, like this. GCC, cargo run. And can we like increase the size of this? Cool. We can say test. We have the KI thing here is reporting the right thing. I don't know what the insert key is supposed to do in Bash. It would be nice to verify behavior in some way. But like, what's it supposed to do? Shift insert should paste. Oh, interesting. How? How does it know that? Okay, so we can try that though. We can say like copy. We can go copy, shift insert, paste. Okay. If I press insert twice, also I get the thing printed. So maybe we should see if that behavior, we see the double insert key press, which is good, and shift insert does not paste, but that doesn't surprise me because I think that's like a different, I assume that's a different key code. We can check. Script-i input log, shift insert, exit, hex dump, and we can see what happened when we press shift insert. We got a different thing. This was escape 200 squiggle the text. Like it didn't, I think that's probably some sort of like externally handled thing. I don't know who handles that, but I think it's not the same as the insert key just being pressed by itself. The fact that when I double tap it, I get the same behavior, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. Pretty sure. And I guess it's funny because we just have no way of, I guess we could look at what it does in here in the code. RL term KI. So we can look for RL term KI. No. KI, like this. Uppercase I, lowercase r. Okay. And, RL overwrite mode. Okay, so if I go, maybe it's something like, if I press D here, it inserts it, but if I say insert D, it replaces, which it's not doing. But I wonder if in console it would. Insert D, no. Insert and hold, insert, RL overwrite mode. Set insert mode, toggle overwrite mode. If it's set, if the explicit arg is 0, then we toggle blah blah blah. Okay. Oh, maybe this is in Vim key bindings only. Hold on, can we look at that again? RL set cursor, blah blah blah. Rub out the character behind point. Terminals are way too complicated for what they do sometimes. Yeah, I mean, Dude, also, like, I feel like I'm high, but when I'm, like, reading through this, like, bash code, it's so, like, holy fuck. Right? It's like, this is crazy, right? Am I crazy? Like, this is, like, there's just so much stuff going on. And it's like, all we're trying to do is figure out what the hell does this insert key do? Does he do anything else anywhere else, or is it only for that binding? It does seem like it's only that binding. Okay. Which means all we have to do is look at RL overwrite mode. Who is... Oh, here we go. Wait, this is going to be interesting. Overwrite mode. We can look for that. There's a overwrite mode. This has a string associated with it. Toggle overwrite mode. With an explicit positive numeric argument, switches to overwrite mode. With an explicit non-positive numeric argument, switches to insert mode. This command only affects Emacs mode. In overwrite mode, characters bound to self-insert replace the text at the point. Rather, characters bound to backward delete car. Okay, Jesus Christ. By default, this is unbound. But it says that it does it on insert. Maybe I need to, but it also needs like a numeric argument. So maybe the reason that when I press a character, I press insert D, then like, you know, then the D comes up. Like, it seems like there's like a toggle thing. So what if I say like insert 2? No, 2 insert. Insert 2. No, okay, I give up. It's implemented as far as we can tell. So we'll put a question mark here. Maybe we did it. Maybe not. Who fucking knows? Alt 2 insert. Oh, okay, wait. Worth a shot. Alt 2 insert. Wait. Wait, that looked promising. Alt 2 insert. Oh no, wait. If I say Alt 5D, that's it. Wow, that's a Alt 8D. What the fuck? Why? Why do I need that? Okay, so that has nothing to do with the insert then. With an explicit positive switches to overwrite mode. With an explicit non-positive switches to insert mode. So they're kind of saying, like, if I go over here and I say Alt1 insert, that says that it should go into overwrite mode, but fuck it, who knows? Who knows? We'll just pretend that it's implemented, and, well, we put a question mark there, because we don't really fucking understand it. That's good enough for me. Key next page. Let's just move on, because that's fucked. Okay. Info comp extern. Look for KNP. He does 6 squiggle, which is probably, again, the same shit, right? We can probably just do all of these at once, right? Everything in this, like, pad of 6 characters. Do we bind insert to overwrite mode? I just got here. Well, according to bash source code, those two things are linked together. We were trying to figure out what the fuck does the insert key do, because, like, nothing I can make it... I can't, like, do anything with it. But then we just gave up. We gave up. Okay, we should just probably bang out all of these guys now. If we... By default, this command is unbound, bash man page. But that's not what I saw in the source code. I feel like. Right? Like, we see... Here, they just, like, unconditionally bind this key insert to RL overwrite mode. And then in, like, RL overwrite mode... they like set it if it's toggled. Like, I don't understand why it wouldn't work. Unless RL set insert mode is RL insert mode. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Not sure. It doesn't, like, I don't see anything in the code that indicates that it's disabled, is why I was thinking that, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Okay, so let's go back into our GUI code and just hook up the rest of these. So we have home and delete insert, and so we're just going to do page up and page down now as the last two. So here we have page up and page down. Might as well do them both at once. Might as well. and this is page up and page down, and page up is 5 squiggle and 6 squiggle. And so now we can go in the term info database thing, and we look at KNP. So HIJK. KNP is equal to escape 5 squiggle and KPP for previous page is 6 squiggle. I think that's what it said. Page down is 6 squiggle. Oops. So these are reversed. This should be 6. This should be 5. And we should double check that in the GUI that here we got this right. So page up should be previous page, next page. Page down is 6. No, okay, page down is 6. Page up is 5. So we had it right here. And in here, next page is down. Yeah, it's just because next and previous aren't the same as down and up, and that confused me. But I think that's right. I think that's right. And it looks like, I assume that these guys aren't modified by cursor keys mode, which we can check in console again. Oops. I thought we were already in one of the... So we can type like a... We can type script -i input dot log, and then we can say ASDF, page up, page down, echo into cursor keys mode, ASDF, up, down, exit. Okay. Now we can hex dump the input log, and we can see what happened. So 5, 6, 5, 6. Yeah, nothing to worry about there. Nothing to worry about there. They're the same in both modes. Like the other ones. No surprise there. Which means what we should be able to do, maybe we go back into our test thing here and make sure that KN and KP are working correctly, and we can test page up and page down in bash in the terminal emulator. Cargo, run, baby. Okay. Womp womp. Womp womp. And what are we doing here? We're doing test. So we do get K next and K previous. And if I go page down, nothing's happened. If I press page up, we go to the first command ever. We paste it down, we go back to the current line. I think that is great. We're chilling. We're chilling. Easy peasy. And I think I forgot to commit for the last few. Oopsies. I wanted to fold these individually like this. Okay. So let's do some git cleanup. Maybe we just add everything here at once, and we'll just say that when we did, well, what's happening there? I think there's an extra line inserted there that we didn't mean to. Hold on, hold on. Do we have end here twice? No. Why does it think that's new then? Did we just add end? I don't remember adding end. But maybe we did. And insert page up, page down. I mean, it's only in here once, so it must be fine, but that's odd to me. I don't remember doing that. Oh, maybe it's because it got confused by... I see. It replaced end with insert over here and then added end over here. Sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. So maybe we'll amend the existing commit and we'll say implement special keys or something. Okay. Okay. Now we are on arrow keys. And I think that's it. So I think we already support the arrow keys. We do. And do we already have them in the term info database? We do. These are the arrow key commands. So I don't think there's actually anything to do here. We just have to make sure that if we run our test script here, that the characters they're looking for are in fact there. So it's KD, KL, KR, and KU. And so we just have to make sure that if we run that, test that we see the correct command strings come out, which I think we should. Yeah. Yep, we do. Down, left, right, up. Wonderful. Everything is chilling. So these are all implemented, and we fold all of these down. I guess we don't need really to look at these ever again. So maybe we fold all of this down to keybinds. We say, please make one major megafold. There we go. Cool. Keybinds done. I think there's no more of the bash things of keybinds is looking for. But he is looking for relative cursor movement. Okay. So what's going on here? So we support right now, if I say, hey, can you go to like row 5 or column 15 in row 5 and then type the letter, I think I press H here, and then I say, can you like write ASDF? That should go to like 0, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should like write ASDF somewhere around here, which it did. Right? Because we put the cursor in that position, wrote some text, and then like continued on. So now like, you know, I'm overwriting stuff over here, whatever. But there's also like relative movements. So in console, I can say like, hey, could I write the text ASDF 1, 2, 3, 4? And then could you go back by 5 characters or 4 characters, which I think is D, I think. And then write like 5, 6, 7, 8. So if in this sequence, since we've gone back over by 4 characters, we should end up seeing printed ASDF 5, 6, 7, 8 because we like went to the beginning of the 1, 2, 3, 4 and overwrote it with new numbers, which is what we see there. So we don't support any relative cursor moves, so we have to add that if Bash is asking for them, which is a reasonable thing for Bash to be asking for, I think. Oops. So I think it's simple. We can look at the ANSI parser stuff. And so the way this works is Bash is going to send us that sequence, and we have to parse it out. And so we already handle escape sequences in general, right? We just have to handle that explicit one, or those explicit ones, I should say. So we're going to have the cursor movements. I just have these memorized at this point. It's A, B, C, and D. A, B, C, D. We can check that. We might as well. So we can look at, if we go into console, and I actually don't know how to prove this, but maybe we can say, what does Bash send to us? We can say script-o output.log. We can say, what does Bash send to us? So I'm going to type ASDF and then type left, 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 right, 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 up, down, exit. Now, I think, if I understand this right, if these things are enabled, Bash should be sending us the relative cursor movement commands, but I'm not 100% sure that he will be. So we could look at hex-dump-c output log. This is what Bash sends to us, and we can look for that ASDF. Okay, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Left, left. Oh, he doesn't send the cursor move up to us, which is confusing. So when we send left, we got the open brace C, but when we went right, we didn't actually... Oh, sorry, when we went right, we saw open brace C, but when we went left, we didn't see open brace D like I thought we would. Which makes this kind of hard to test. Makes it hard to test for sure. But I guess we can just test it with echoes, right? We know that they're like CUB1 is this. Oh, this is a backspace? I assume this is a cursor movement, not a deletion. So if I write like Control H here, that's like full on deleting stuff. Is there not like a cursor move left without deleting? It would be open brace D, but I don't see it. Let's search that maybe in this one. So we can say open brace D, is that anywhere? No. Or is open brace not searchable like that? Open brace for, no, it's not. I have to say, escape the open brace for, yeah, okay. So now I go search again, and escape the open brace D. No. Search, escape, open brace D. Yeah, that's just not in there. Info comp, xterm, grep, open brace D. I think that's probably escape. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so escape, the backwards one is actually not in there. But they call this, so that's actually not a relative cursor movement. That's like a delete. Okay, whatever. We'll have to come back to that one. But we'll do the other ones for now. So A, B, and C. So I'm pretty sure that if we grab A, we see cursor up one is A. Cursor. Oh, they don't have down one either. Okay, so this is not needed by readline anyways, but what does xterm say cud1 is? This is confusing. This is not what I expected. Oh, because cursor down one is just a new line. That makes sense. You don't need a special escape code when you can just press new line. Okay, sure. Sure. So we're already handling new lines that are not a CSI sequence, so we're good. We don't have to do cursor back because it's not a CSI sequence, we're good. So we only have to handle up and forward here. Okay. So we already support new lines, and it seems like, from reading this, that new lines is kind of like a specialized case of a general relative movement. So maybe we'll say set cursor pause rel, and he's going to have a x movement, which is going to be a maybe integer. 32 seems fine. You know, using u sizes where we were before is like pretty aggressive. I don't think you're ever going to have like a position that's like, what's like I32 max? It's massive. It's like 32768. Like, are you going to have a terminal that's greater than 30,000 characters wide? Like, fuck no. That's fine. And we're going to remove new line because new line is a specialization of this. Is it? What do we do when we get new lines? We handle that specially, instead of just moving the cursor down. Oh, because when we move the cursor down, we need to tell... No, we probably don't need to do that. This probably doesn't need special handling. I'm not like 100% on this. Pretty sure append new line at end is unneeded. Because like the way that our terminal buffer stuff usually works is we have like, you know, a linear string, right? ASDF \n, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, and then, so if we're like in our 2D buffer, this gets rendered as like ASDF 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if our cursor's like here, and we move it down, we bring it down to here, boom. And then like, why do we put, there's no reason to put a new line here, because when we put text in, then it'll like show up there already. Oh, but I guess we might put a new line there because, we want to make sure that the cursor stays like on screen. So by putting a new line there, it kind of like pushes all the text up. That might be why we did it. That would make sense. Interesting. CUU1 is actually open brace or escape M in tmux for whatever reason. All the terminals I checked is EA. I think in tmux, I think like they just like fuck them all up. Like I think these are all very strange, and or not all of them, but a lot of them are, maybe not. CUU. Oh yeah, I see. So you have CUU is like the normal thing, but CUU1 is escape M. Interesting. I am curious about that. Is there an ANSI code for that? Because what I was going to say is I've seen a bunch of them be different in tmux overall, because I just assumed it was because they didn't want to like fight with like, how to say this? Like fight with the actual terminal emulator that they're running in? That's what I assumed, but I guess not. C0 control codes. So maybe this week we can find this in ECMA 48. If they have elements of the C0 set, M would be row 4, column D, which is 15, 14, 13. So escape 13 is a CR, according to this. Carriage return. Which is not a new line. Oh, wait, this is CU1. Carriage return? Up one line is a carriage return? That doesn't make any sense. Interesting. I wonder if we can test this. So, oh yeah, here they have DL1. Oh, it's open brace M, maybe. Is that? C0 are... I thought these were just escaped followed by directly this thing. Where C1 has the open brace. Let's double check that. Yeah, C0. Oh, wait, C0 isn't escaped. Fuck. Sorry. So, here, this is C1 FE sequence. That's what we're looking for. FE sequences. So, do they have a list of those in ECMA 48? FE. Right. Okay, so here we're looking for 413 RI. So can we look at, like, does it tell us what RI is? Is this like a standard thing that Tmux is just being clever about? A, B, C, D, RI. Reverse line feed. Okay. So that seems like pretty reasonable. That's a reasonable answer to that question, right? If you have line feed, which goes down by 1, and reverse line feed that goes up by 1, I wonder why Tmux decided to do it that way. Maybe it's just like... I guess there is like some slight semantic difference there, maybe. If like one is shifting the cursor and one's shifting the page under the cursor, they might be like very, very slightly semantically different. Not sure. Anyways, I think it doesn't matter. I'm just going to do what Xterm does. So what were we doing? I got distracted. We're trying to figure out if new line is a specialization of relative moves. And I think maybe it's not, because of what we were just saying there. Okay. So that's fine. We won't replace new line. And we wanted to look at CU1 is escape EA. Okay, so this is a relative movement. Relative move up. And we had CUF1, which is EOC. So we didn't have to handle B, and this is a relative move to the right. Okay, and then I guess technically we should handle these things correctly. And are they called CUF here? Yeah, Chris, right. Okay, so I'm assuming that these take in parameters. Yeah, so they have an optional parameter of how far to go. I'm not assuming. We know that. We've tested this before. And you know what? I'm actually back to saying I want to implement the other ones anyways, since we're here, because I feel like we might as well. Because they will be useful for testing other stuff. So this is relative move left. This is relative move down. Okay. So for each of these guys, we're going to try to extract a single parameter that is like this. Invalid cursor move up distance is what we'll say. And then we will say self output. Nope. What is the output called here? Output, not self output. Output push. So this is a relative movement. So cursor move pause set cursor pause rel. Okay. And his x is going to be none, and his y is going to be the param, unwrap, or the default value of 1. And this has to be wrapped in a little sum because it is a present thing. Okay. And this thing is parsed as a usize, but then we need to convert him. So here, I guess, since it's up, the y direction is going to be negative. Okay, and then so I guess we have to do let movement is equal to param unwrap or 1, and then we'll say movement. I guess we'll do the whole thing. Try into expect. Do we want to expect here? I guess like technically someone could punch in a number that's like not valid. But if it's a valid usize, it should match. But they could punch in something that's like massively, massively wrong. So I guess we have to try into and handle the error. So we can say let movement is equal to match on this guy. So he's going to try to be I32. And we will just say, if this is okay, we propagate it. And if it's an error, maybe we just say warn invalid cursor move is larger than I32 can hold. Yes, reasonable. And then we say we still consider ourselves completed. We did finish parsing our CSI sequence, and then we need to return or something. Nope, continue. I think we're in a loop. Okay. And maybe we push an invalid thing. I don't know. Seems reasonable. I wonder if we actually have to push invalid things or if we should just like ignore them, because I don't think we ever do anything interesting with them. Okay, and since we're going vertically, we just invert it. Cool. I guess we don't know what's larger. Cursor move cannot be cast to I32. There we go. Then we log the error. And I guess these are all the same. So I guess, I mean, does it even make sense to parse param as usize? We should just make a new function, parse param as I32, and avoid this bullshit. So we can say parse param as I32, positive I32, I guess. Maybe we just say as I32 is in general. That seems maybe fine. I don't know if like having negatives is valid, but maybe we won't restrict it for now. And I guess these things are fucking identical, which means that they can probably be generic. So we can probably say, since we're handling weird numbers, negative int min can be greater than int max. Don't know how Rust deals with that. Yeah. I was thinking about that, but I know that we're starting max and then going to minimum, so negating. Oh, but then if we parse negatives and then we allow the negating, yeah, you're right. It would probably crash. There's probably an edge case there. Parse param as, maybe we just say parse param as, and we take in type. And we return the type. And the type has to implement from stir, which is stood stir from stir. And then, when we say everywhere parse param as usize, we can say parse param as usize like this instead. Okay. Okay. And then Then, in this scenario here, we just say parse param as i32. Yes. And then we don't have to do this try into here. And then we're chilling. And I guess, but we do still need to handle the fact that we're negating it, which is a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. So if maybe there's a Rust way to do it and just swallow the error and like clamp it or something. Rust i32. Does he have like invert or like negate? Next multiple of, no, not really, eh? Wrapping mall, not really what I want. Okay, we'll just say param clamp int i32. You know what? We'll just leave it. This is never going to come up. Cannot apply to unary. Oh, so this is param unwrap or 1. Okay. The input is positive, the output is negative, then we're good. I think we are good unless somebody pushes in a negative number, which this parser would allow now, which is a bit of a pain. But I'm just going to not worry about it because I don't want to worry about it. Okay, so down is just the same thing, but we don't invert it. Right is the same thing as down, except we swap line X. And left is the same as right, except this is negated. And on all of these guys, we forgot to reset the parser in the case of success. So we just womp, 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 womp. And all of these guys now need semicolons. All right. Okay, and then all of these guys, this needs to say move down distance, move right distance, and move left distance. All right. Seems reasonable. Look at all that duplication. Surely that will never come back to bite me. Surely. It could never. Now we need to actually do something with that. So, right. So in our terminal emulator, we have set cursor pause, and now we just say set cursor pause rel. And this is now x. So if it's relative, we plus equals these things. Okay. But this cursor pause is a U size, so we also have to make sure that maybe we how do we do this? How do we do this? If x is less than 0, if x is less than 0, then we do something. This is a pain. This is a pain. Self cursor state pause x equal to self cursor state pause x as i64 plus x clamped to a reasonable range. Sick don't like this. So S is S also try into expect. I32 should cast to I64. Okay. So we'll say let x I64. We'll say let x as an I64 is equal to x in try into, or maybe just into. Is that just fine? Like, does that? That's fine. Yep. Okay. Which will no longer work if the types change. It'll make me do a try into, I think. I don't know. We'll see. Yep, no complaints there. And then I guess we say let current x is as an I64 is equal to self cursor pause x try self cursor state, pause X, try into expect. I mean, technically we shouldn't expect, but I don't think this should ever happen. So we'll just say X position larger than i64 can handle. I don't think that this is something that we should support. Which kind of makes me think that maybe we should just store it as an i64 all the time to save us some of the pain. But I think that would be too much code change right now for me to deal with. Okay, so we have current x plus x. And self cursor state pause x equal to this guy, clamped, to 0. Or I guess the min with 0, max with 0. Yes. We don't want it to go below 0. As usize. We know this a bit. Luckily, there's future me. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. All right. And this is another one of those like, do you think that there might be some sort of duplication here that you could factor out? Surely. But instead I copy paste and let my code turn into shit. You know how it is. Okay. So I think now we should be able to do some of these like more fancy cursor movements. So I should be able to do echo dash e ASDF 1 2 3 4. Move the cursor back by 4. Type 1 5 6 7 8, and that 1 2 3 4 should be overwritten with 5 6 7 8. Fuck, because I forgot an open brace like this. Nice. Okay. Backwards moves working, and then we could try a forwards move instead. Great. Big gap. Sick. And then we could try a downwards move. Oops, sorry. Downwards is B. Sick. Okay. And we can try an upwards move. Cool. I think everything's chilling. Everything is chilling. Looks like that's working. Which means that now we just need to add those movements to the terminfo database. Termi TI. And I think it's CUU is, that's cursor up, is open brace, some parameter, followed by A? A cursor up, yeah, A, and then down is B. So it's B, C, forward, and CUB for back, maybe? We're gonna have to double check this. So he has CUF, ends with C, that's what I wrote. CUB is what I wrote for back. Here's the D, nice. Then CUU ends with the A, nice, and then CUD ends with the B. Okay, we're chilling. And now we just have to add the single one. So we already have the single for up and down. We need the single for left and right. So CUF1 is equal to the same thing, just without the parameter. And CU up 1 was the other one that we need to implement, I think. CU up 1, and this is A. Okay, so that's up, forward. We didn't implement CUD1, but we did implement CUD. So we'll kind of say that this is like skipped. Skipped, or already implemented. Are you far away from being able to write termi and termi? I think like reasonably far, right? We don't have any support for, like, if I try to run Vim, it's like totally fucked. But we're close. I think we're getting closer every day. Okay, so what do we implement here? We implemented the cursor movements, and now we want to make sure that in test.c, at the very least, the ones that we expect to be supported here are. So it's LE, up, ND, do. Oh, do wasn't needed by bash. Okay. Oh, interesting. LE is not shown here. Oh, but maybe because LE was using the, that's using a caret code that we don't render correctly in this. That's fine. It's fine. Cargo run. Cargo run test. Okay, so he sees these things, and I guess we can check if, we need to, like, trigger these cases somehow. I don't know what, like, the easiest way to test this is. It seemed like we would need to know how bash uses these things to see if we can trigger it, which is annoying. Well, at least we know that we tested, like, the escape codes manually ourselves. And if we look at infocomp here, we know that the escape codes that we used are being set here. So CUF1, CUF, CU, CUD, CUB. So I guess the, like, correct way to test this would to be write a curses thing that, like, looks these up and uses them, I guess. I don't know how to do that, but it would be nice to be able to, like, stitch it all together. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. So maybe we'll kind of say that's like a new section. 01, 21, 35, and we'll say, write n curses program to test movement. Because, like, otherwise, like, I'm trying to, like, guard against the case that I made a mistake in, like, the term info hookup, right? If, like, I swapped up and down or something, that would be, like, fucking annoying. So I guess we'll need to learn how to write an ncurses app. But I guess I don't want, like, only ncurses. I want, like, is there, like, an infocomp library? Like, well, what's the function I'm using in test C? This is tgetster. So we have tgetster, which is the term cap thing. But do they say, like, hey, what's, like, the new version? I guess in we could still use term cap. Yeah. We could still use term cap because these bindings should have, like, alternatives, I think. Infocomp. CUU. No, man, term info. CUU. So this is the up. Yeah. So we should be able to look for up and then run up and get, it's fine. We'll just CUD. Okay, maybe what we do is we cheat. We cheat and we just say, please show me up, down, DO, and then CUF, RI, and probably LI for left. Nope. CUB, LE. So it will just manually check these. That's fine. We don't need to do the end-to-end test. So we have up is A, down B, right C, left D. I think I'm happy with that. That's good enough. I'm not sure what you're after, but tput. Yeah, I was trying to see, like, do I want to, like manually write a test that moves the cursor and proves that, like, it goes to the right spot, and I just don't want to deal with that. So I think that's fine. That's fine. Standout mode. I wonder... Okay, hold on. The rest of this stuff, I think, doesn't really matter. There's, like... Standout mode, like, inverts the cursor in some cases, but I think that doesn't fucking matter. Meta mode is for, like, alt key presses. Also shouldn't really matter for, like, rendering in bash. And then here we have, like, visible bell, flash, like, cursor, like, UI stuff. And padding. It seems like, okay, when I looked at the padding character, it seems like bash might say, hey, I'm going to emit a 0 to, like, pad. And I think we can just write somewhere, if you look at info comp xterm, they have this like NPC thing set. And if I look at man term info, NPC says like pad characters don't exist. So I think we can just say in our thing that we just don't support padding characters. And then we can say that this is done. And I think nothing else should matter for like cursor rendering. Which kind of makes me think that if we type long lines in bash now, we should now have like the wrapping behavior instead of the long line behavior that we had before. Because everything should just match what like other terminals are now. Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah, look at that. And I can backspace over new lines. Look at that. That's slick. That's new behavior. That's cool. Look at that. I wonder if the amount of stuff that we implemented changes like that when we type git log. No, he still says terminal is not fully functional. Okay. So, but like in terms of like cursor move, oh fuck. All right, I'm gonna just quickly write down clear crashes terminal emulator sometimes due to resize. No, I don't remember. That's annoying. There's some bug in there, but that's from some. I justify it by saying I introduced it in something that still says whip. And so since the bug is from whip, I don't have to think about it. I'll just let it crash. Okay, so I guess the question is, it's an hour 26. Does it make, like, do I care about any of the rest of this stuff enough to try it here? Like, do I think I would get it? We could maybe try standout mode. So, standout mode, terminal, emulator. I read somewhere that this inverts the characters. Maybe it was from looking at the ASCII characters. So if you look at standout mode, we can look at, oh yeah, here. Standout mode, they set this open brace 7M command. And we know that the M command, we've already implemented this one. And we know that M, we, and by we, I mean me, because I wouldn't expect you guys who are just tuning in and out randomly on Twitch to remember all of the cursor commands we've implemented. But this is select graphic rendition parameters is M. Right, it says here, CSIM. And then swap foreground background colors is 7. Oh, readline does that wrapping? I always assume it's the terminal because it does that when you copy. Because it joins the lines when you copy. I'm not really sure what you mean by joins the lines when you copy. But yes, bash is doing it, or like readline is doing it to some extent. I don't know like exactly what it's doing. We can like look, but like if I say like term equals dumb bash like this, I'm pretty sure that now my behavior is changing, right? Yeah, see here with my dumb terminal, it's resetting, and we looked at this before somewhere. YouTube at Sparrow for you. Somewhere in here we were looking at why the fuck. Yeah, why is bash saying I typed stuff that I didn't? Right? We like looked at this and it was like we saw that like we hit carriage return, like bash would like insert carriage returns in a ton of spaces instead of like clearing the line, because it's just trying to keep everything within one line, and if it doesn't know how to backspace over, it makes it hard. I don't know. I don't know if I have like full justification for why it behaves that way. It's because backspace over line wraps is not defined in the ECMA spec. So if it wraps, the terminal emulator, when you hit backspace, might not, in fact, probably won't backspace across to the next line. And so if bash assumes that it did, but it didn't, then what you displayed and what you're going to execute is different. And that's like a big no-no, right? If I wrote like ASDF, and I backspace, like say it's like 4 wide, I say backspace 5 times, and my terminal emulator just keeps showing the ASDF here, no matter how many times I hit backspace, but bash thinks that I've deleted all the way at the beginning, like that's like fucking confusing. So I'm pretty sure that's why Bash thinks he has to handle the line wrapping, I think. But I don't know what you mean by joins the lines when you copy. Oh. Right. That's a good point as well. I wonder, I see what you mean now. You're saying that, like, if I copy out, there's no actual new line in there, which might still be true, right? Bash might need the cursor up and forward commands in order to, so he might assume that the terminal emulator will wrap, but when you backspace over the new line, he needs to have the capability to move the cursor back across one line, otherwise he won't let it wrap. I think that's probably it. And we can test that. We can test that, for sure. For sure we can test that. So we can go to console, and we can say script. Script. And we'll say, Bash, please tell me what you're outputting to us. Maybe we'll even do export prompt command, or unset prompt command, and export ps1 equals this, just to like reduce the amount of shit that Bash is writing. And then we can say script -o output log at bash no profile no rc. No. Oh, maybe I have to say in one thing like this. Unexpected number of arguments. I thought that I could, is it not like bash like this? No. I thought that I could manually run any command with script. Man script. Options file. Oh, it's -c. I have to say -c. Like this. And it's no profile without this. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Okay. So we'll make our thing really small. And now we can say, when it wraps, it probably did nothing. We'll see. And then we hit backspace, 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 backspace. And I want to see what it did in that scenario. So we can maybe hex dump -c output log. And we look for the ASDFs. Here we go. Okay. I'm confused. I'm a little confused. Exits here. So where are my backspaces? Control C's here. Hold on. ASDF. What is this, like K, open brace K shit, open brace C shit? I don't remember typing any of this. Oh, but Bash did. Right, so when I went backwards over the new line, here he moved the cursor up, then right a bunch. Yes. He moved the cursor up, then right a bunch. And then did probably whatever the K command is. What is that? Erase in line. Aha! Okay. So it looks like every time we hit backspace, Bash is actually executing an erase in line, right? Delete everything forwards from the cursor. And then when we wrapped over a line, he went up by one line, forward by a bunch of characters, then deleted the rest of the line. And that's how he that's how he got the backspace across a new line. What a stupid fucking system, by the way. Can we just like point out that like shouldn't Bash shouldn't the shell and the terminal emulator almost be one thing at this point? Like, obviously not, because you want to like run different shells, whatever. But like, this is like a stupid fucking interface, right? The fact that Bash doesn't know what's on the screen, and he's doing these like sequences of cursor moves in a delete, and then just hoping to God that the terminal emulator is also doing that same thing. It seems so error prone. But okay, I think that explains it. Can you try watching Star Wars and tell me? You've got me curious. I've seen this. I've seen this thing before. I bet you. Oh, I don't know. It's probably fucked, but we could find out. Telnet towel. Oh, hold on. I'm not just gonna randomly. What if it's like ASCII porn that you're sending me? Star Wars Telnet. I can't trust random chat messages. But it does look like you typed the same thing. Towel dot Blinken lights.nl. Telnet command not found. Nick shell -p telnet. And I probably should make this at least a little bit bigger. Really? No telnet? Telnet. Telnet. iNet utils. I don't quite understand what happened to the line wrap. Did the 20-0D, did that make sense to you? Hold on. Did we lose it? It's in console probably. You mean like right here? 20-0D. Not completely. I kind of skipped that part. You're right. So yeah, what the fuck is that? $20 is probably an ASCII character, right? Maybe not. ANSI escape codes. 20, 20, 20, 20. 20 is not in here. But OD probably is. OD is carriage return. 20 is space. So they just did space carriage return. So space to bring us over to the new line, carriage return to bring us back to the beginning or something, probably. Something stupid like that. 20 is space, might be decimal. No, this is hex. In this window, right? Because you see B's and D's and shit everywhere. Man, ASCII. We can just double check. 20 is space, yeah. Yep. So I think that makes sense. It's not like that reasonable, but I think it makes enough sense. Did we get a Nix shell with telnet? Telnet. Fuck. Export prompt command equals, or unset prompt command, and then export ps1 equals this. Okay. And then we need to echo -e, the reset thing. Okay. Now we can try to type telnet. Oh, you were not sure if the 20 in space was the 20 was space in hex or decimal. That makes more sense. Towel.blinkenlights.nl. I wonder if it's okay. Telnet towel.blinkenlights.nl. Did I just mistype it? Fuck. Nix shell-p inet utils. I don't know if it's fucked because termy or if it's fucked because I typed something wrong. Let's just make sure I've copied the fucking URL right. Oh my god. There's so many terminals, only some of which have telnet. I wonder if it's just down. Because it's just not playing it here. Last time I tried this, it was like a lot quicker. So unfortunately, maybe we can't try it. Maybe fortunately because it will like hide how fucking broken termy is from you guys. But unfortunately because we don't get to watch Star Wars. Hard life for us. Hard life. Okay. So I did want to see, we were looking at stand-up mode. Well, kind of. We were going to look at stand-up mode. And I did want to see what the hell it does. So it was echo-e, and it was open brace 7M 1234, and then reset. Yeah, okay. So that swaps foreground and background colors, which means that to do that, we would need to. That's a lot of GUI work that I don't want to do right now. Actually, I'm looking at the clock, and now we're at an hour 40 instead of an hour 30 because we wasted so much time just now. And at an hour 40. I'm much less willing to start a new thing. So, I think I'm going to call it there for today. Thanks for watching, guys. I think we made some pretty good progress. I think Bash is looking a lot better now. We got relative cursor movement, and relative cursor movement is where we spent, I was going to say most of the time, but it actually looks like we spent a long time in keybinds too. Oh, because there were just a lot of them. Yeah, so we How did this take so long? What the fuck? Hold on. What the fuck did we do there? Why was that? Yeah, that should not have taken very long at all. I don't know why that took like 40 minutes, but it did. And then where we actually made good progress was on cursor movement. So pretty happy there. That's going to make a lot of testing a lot easier because we've done a lot of tests where we're trying to like move the cursor backwards and we just like had to use absolute positioning. So relative positioning, pretty sick there. And we didn't really do much of anything else. But Bash is a lot cooler now, for sure. Right? The wrapping is working. So thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, we stream most days at around 1 or 2 o'clock Pacific time for around 1 to 2 hours. Right now we're working on the terminal emulator. We'll probably keep working on it for a little bit. I'm still having a lot of fun. So I think there's a lot more to do here. I think we'll probably come back and try to work on less a little bit. So, right, we're here and we say, when we type, okay, first of all, when I type git log, it says terminal is not fully functional. So it'd be interesting to see why that's the case. And it would be nice to kind of work towards getting like NeoVim working as well. So probably we'll try to tackle looking at the less source code tomorrow, trying to figure out why it says that, do the same thing that we did with Realigned, look at like what commands it's using and try to like implement them. And then we're move on to NeoVim. If you're watching live and you want to see past projects or catch up on VODs, if you like, you know, miss a stream, you want to watch everything, or who would want to, but you know, if you did, there's a YouTube link in the Twitch description where there's like playlists for each project. And there's also a GitHub link in the Twitch description for if you want to go check out code for anything that we've been working on. If you're watching on YouTube, you should click the Twitch link in the YouTube description, come by, say hi, you know, say whatever you want to say to me, tell me I'm shit, or, you know, maybe give suggestions on what we can do next, you know, whatever. I think that's it. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye!